Well, today I want to do something a little bit different. We just had a big tornado go through this town in Wisconsin. And I mean by literally just went through. I mean literally like probably 10 minutes ago for me recording this video. It just went through. And I wanted to show this just because I think it's a really good instance where really, I mean, a tornado can pop up at any moment, and it's just a really good visual on how to kind of read radar and stuff like that. So especially since it's right next to this radar, you can have a really good concept. So right now what we're looking at is a correlation coefficient. So everything here in the pink is going to be around the same size. So you got raindrops, you got, that's all about the same size. Raindrops are all about the same size. So it's all throwing the correlation at a very high correlation, right? So it's all coloring it the same color. That way we know that um, it's all rain, right? So, well, you get down here, and this is what they call side lobe, okay? And you can tell this is side lobe just because of how broad it is and how ununiform it is, right? Too. This is also side lobe. So, like, even though this is dropping a correlation right here, that doesn't mean that there's something in the sky that's a different shape than rain, which would indicate like wood or something like that for a debris signature, right? So, we go back to reflectivity. Um, so we're gonna load it up here, and then we're gonna go back. Um, so this is 11:37, okay, and this tornado went through at approximately 12 o'clock, around 12 o'clock, and so at 11:37, this is what the storm looked like. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. This storm doesn't look that like impressive. Yes, there's a hook right here, right? There's a hook right here, but overall, this storm doesn't even look that healthy, which is why you really have to watch out for weather situations, especially like this one where today it's only like a 2% risk. Today it's only like a 2% risk of tornadoes in this area. So, for something like this to happen, it really goes to show you, that you can't control what happens, and probably the best idea to just be a little bit, more weather aware, especially even on days that don't seem like they're going to be very eventful. But to continue, we'll go ahead and jump 2 frames, or we'll stay here and then we'll go to velocity and look at this real quick. So let's go all the way back. Okay, so right here, this is 23 minutes before a huge tornado is about to be down. And there's really not a signature here that you can go off of and be like, a tornado might form right there. There's really not. In a lot of different situations, you get a good mesocyclone that's rotating or something along that line that really indicates where the tornado is going to try to come down and be at here. But here you can see 27 or 23 minutes before the tornado possibly touched down. I'm going to say it probably touched down at about 12. Um, right before it, touched down, 23 minutes, 20 minutes, you don't have any time whatsoever. You had like 20 minutes before. If you live in Appleton, you had like 20 minutes before this thing got to your doorstep. And a lot of people just weren't ready for it for sure, just because it's a 2% day. But anyways, you go forward. We'll go forward 2 frames, so you can really start to see its core, its side lobing here. And the National Weather Service is really good at seeing things like this right here, where the color isn't shaded in all the way, so we know something's going on here with the radar screen, where it's kind of getting side lobed by something here, whether it's all the buildings in Appleton or just something random that's in the air, a mountain ridge, anything like that can side lobe the radar to where, if we can't see if the radar beam can't hit the droplets of water coming out of the air, the rain, If it can't hit that, then it's not going to be able to see the wind. It's not going to be able to see anything like that. That's the only way we're able to see stuff like that is if the radar beam it comes out and it hits raindrops and other things that are in the air, and that's how we get correlation coefficient and also velocity like this. Okay, so this is around 15 minutes before, and there could have been a tornado warning at this point. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they issued one or not, but this is 20 minutes beforehand. So we go 20, or not even 20. This is 10 minutes beforehand. So you can see there's more side lobe here, right? 8 minutes beforehand. Okay, and then we go to 5 minutes beforehand. And you can really see this last scan right here. You see those brighter colors coming up right here? Oh, okay. So actually, no, there was no tornado warning. Not until 5 minutes before I believe the tornado touched down. There was no tornado warning. And there's the couplet. So here you have no tornado warning. Here you have no tornado warning at all. Here you have a basically confirmed tornado on the ground because of this couplet. Whenever you see something like this, to where they are literally touching, that's what they call a couplet. And 99% of the time, whenever a couplet is going to be this tight and this just perfectly touching each other like this, that's a very good indication that there's a tornado on the ground. So 11:59, we're gonna go back to reflectivity, and then back to 11:59. Okay, so this is now what we're seeing on radar at 11:59, which is just a crazy look on this storm because you have the main supercell right here, okay, but then it's also attached itself to another supercell here in the back, and yet the rear flank downdraft, which is the winds coming around the storm, wrapping around, and then coming into the storm right here, are still able to get past this small rain band right here, which is indication of a very strong storm. Just because a lot of this time right here, it would cut the inflow, and then the storm would have to recycle and try to figure out a different way to get some better inflow here. But this storm right here seems like it has some really good inflow right here. It's really starting to bubble up right here where that hook echo is. Anytime it starts to bubble up right here in the back, right? So like it'll be so like you can kind of see here, right? How it's almost flat, and there's not very much space in between this and this part. But now you move it forward, and it really starts to bubble up. You see that last part? See how it bubbles out? And that's an indication where you can definitely see that the wind is pushing up into the middle part of the storm right here. And you also have that rear flank downdraft that's coming around, okay? So this is about where I think the tornado touchdown, and we're going to go to correlation coefficient and see if I'm right here. So we're going to go to 11:59. Okay, and there's your debris signature. So right here where that couplet is on velocity, you can see that it has dropped a pretty deep correlation coefficient. So the deeper the blue is going to be how far up this storm is pushing debris and how much of it is in the air, right? So if you have a deeper debris signature, so if the debris signature is in deeper color, that means that it's higher up into the air. It's throwing things higher into the air, which obviously indicates a stronger tornado. Okay, so this thing just touched down in Appleton at this point. We're going to move it forward on the correlation coefficient and see exactly what happens here. And you can definitely see immediately. So what I think actually happened on the ground right here probably is it probably really started to pick up right here, right? And so I think that it probably started to pick up right here and it started kind of lofting things in the air, but not high enough to where the whole correlation could see it. That's why it's kind of broken up right here. And then the next frame, you definitely can see you have that huge correlation coefficient. Everything's very tight. Everything's perfect for a big tornado right here on the ground in Fox Crossing. And, just to remind you, this happened 30 minutes ago. So this is very, very new information here. Um, and so we're going to move it across here. And luckily, it is going to go over the lake here, but not before it gets huge. I mean, this thing is literally the size of the town of Menasha. And I would not be surprised if Menasha definitely needs some help right now. And there's most likely a bunch of damage in Manasa here. And I'm not sure if I'm saying that wrong. If I am, I do apologize. But we're gonna move it on here, and it goes right over that town, and then it actually looks. I mean, if you lived in the town of Menasha, you got extremely unlucky. And Nina, if you lived in the town of Nina and Menasha, you got extremely unlucky today, just due to the fact of this tornado literally popped up, got as big as your town, and then shortly after it went over into the river or into the lake and just kind of rode the coastline. And then afterwards dissipated. You no longer have a tornado. And that all happened in the span of 50 minutes. 50 minutes. 50 minutes with about 5-minute warning on a storm that is just basically unpredictable. Almost unpredictable. 5 minutes away from being an unpredictable tornado. I mean, it's just I send all my prayers and everything else to the Menasha, uh, the people in Menasha and the people in Nina. I hope they're all okay. Um, but yeah, I mean, this doesn't look good. It's a very rare situation for a big tornado like this was, especially right here in this situation right here. I mean, it is this tornado in this scan right here is probably every bit of a half mile wide, if not bigger than that. So it'll be interesting to see the analysis come out here in a couple days whenever they come out and talk about the Menasha town and stuff like that. I hope to hear all good things. I hope that maybe the center of the rotation went over the lake. That's what we can hope for. But yeah, so I just wanted to get on here today and kind of do this analysis of this very brief but huge tornado that actually had just went through about um, 36 minutes now. So yeah, thank you all for watching, and I like and subscribe. I appreciate everybody for watching.